Oh man. All right. Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, and welcome to the Blurring the Lines podcast. I am your host, Peter Nikolaidis, and joining me as always, my co-host, Adam Bell.
Hey, Peter. I'm excited for this quarterly update.
Hey, Adam, I'm surprised I remembered how to do the intro and got it right on the first take.
Well, good news is we wouldn't have done a second take, so
Well, that's not true. We've definitely, forgotten to record once or
oh yeah.
twice and stuff. That's happened. That's happened.
Some of those
Uh,
episodes are lost to, just the air.
the ether.
Not even
Yes.
ether because it wasn't even digital.
So, so it has been a while.
Yep, as I said, a month of Sundays.
A month of sun or a month anyway. Yeah, I don't even remember now. Did we didn't record since I got back from Costa Rica, right?
No, we
Yeah,
recorded the last recording we did was while you were still in Costa Rica.
correct. And I've been back for a month now. So
Mm-hmm.
it's been a while, and I was gone for a month.
Mm-hmm. And then I was gone
Uh
for 2 weeks.
and then, yeah, so that all adds up to a quarterly update.
Yeah.
So here we are.
So you haven't seen the movie The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with Nicolas Cage?
Can't say that I have,
You should. It's good. I mean,
if you
he
say so.
he actually plays himself in
Okay.
in
Is that
it.
like being John Malkovich? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess something like I never saw it being John Malkovich, but probably something along those lines.
Okay.
It was it was definitely it was a fun movie.
Yeah, I'll put it on the
And
list.
but one of the things that he repeats throughout the movie, oh, you're back. No, not that I was ever gone. Like, I've always been relevant.
Yes,
You haven't done
exactly. We've
we
always
haven't
been
seen
here.
you in years. Not that I've been gone.
Just took a break. That's all. I was on hiatus. What's hiatus? Oh, it's this little island off of the coast of Boston. Yeah. Oh boy. So what's new? What's happening? So I was traveling, you've been traveling, we came
Hmm.
back, we've been working out, etc.
Hmm.
What's the deal? What's the news? What's the biggest update from your end?
Well, so I mean, we went to the Seychelles, so that was a bucket list trip for us. It was a very pleasant trip. I mean, we had a great time, but it was nice because Seychelles don't get a lot of Americans who go there, and
Oh.
so the we didn't have the reputation of, oh, you're American.
So it's the opposite of Costa Rica.
Yeah. Like, oh, we know you tourists. So we got a fair shake, and I felt like we were good representations of US travelers who know how to travel.
Hmm.
We embraced the
Good.
culture, we embraced the people, and I mean the people were very nice. Drove on the opposite side of the road for us.
Okay.
That was a bit hairy. I mean, it was a bit stressful. I mean, I drove through the city, and I like the rural roads better, but people and cars, and they negotiate all in the same lanes.
Well, of course, now I did the same thing when we were in the Bahamas. I mean, I drove down there on the opposite
Hmm.
side, but I guess you didn't drive down there.
No, we had when we go, a car picks us up at the airport and drives us to the lodge, and we stay at the lodge the whole time. We never leave.
Got it. Right. Yeah, I guess that's not that's more like what it was with me in Costa Rica. I had drivers the whole time. Although
Hmm.
in Costa Rica they drive on the right side of the road. So not necessarily the correct side. I'm just saying the right side of the
The
road,
the literal right.
the literal right. So well, cool. Welcome back. And
Thanks.
yeah,
You
yeah, great. Yeah,
you as well.
great to be here. Yeah. So
But it was, it
Oh.
was a really cool country. I mean, it was beautiful. I mean, it was like Hawaii. You're like,
Hmm.
you look out and it's a postcard. You're like, it can't really be this beautiful. Really?
I know that feeling. So, so what's new then since you've come back? I'm saying this was just like a, vacation, wasn't like some kind of life-changing event or anything, or.
Yeah, no, I mean, of course, I sign a great big client right before I go on vacation for 2 weeks.
Hmm.
So since I've been back, we've been dealing with that, and onboarding is always a hassle. And then,
Hmm.
my family's doing well. The girls are in school, so that's been not too bad at all. I got
Okay.
got a new Apple Watch, or we already talked about the Apple Watch, but I got to go scuba diving with my Apple Watch, and that
Good.
functionality was cool.
Hmm.
Um, Other than that, no changes other than now I'm busier than a one-legged man in a butt kicking contest.
Good. Well, I've been fairly busy myself. My two main engagements are, there's always the big one with the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next one working for doing that VCSO engagement for an auto parts chain, and that's expanding. I'm starting to do some more policy and security operations work for a large MSP.
Mm-hmm.
So, and by large, I mean, with a B there in the, revenue kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I'm enjoying that work. It pays well and it's rewarding. So, I'm excited. I'm enjoying that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in healthcare, is not having a great time right now though. So it's
Yeah.
working in that environment. Working there is pretty stressful because they're so short staffed and short on resources in general.
Mm-hmm.
So that's getting more so anyway. But speaking of burning the candle on both ends, I've got a marathon coming up in about 5 weeks.
Yeah.
i don't
How's that
really I don't know, man. I don't really feel prepared.
going?
Now, granted, it's 5 weeks away,
Yeah.
but I'm training a lot less strenuously than I have for my last two races, my
Mm-hmm.
last two marathons, anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm not really sure. My first marathon, I was just kind of like, like I'm just gonna run it with my friend, and that's great. My ultra, I trained for that one. That was training seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I've pretty much come back from my knee injury in November, but it definitely affected my performance. But the training plan I'm doing now, whereas the last few have focused on mileage, this one is just focusing on time, time
Mm-hmm.
on feet.
Okay.
So like today I ran half an hour. That was my goal. Tomorrow it's 55 minutes. The next day it's like a 55-minute, speed run.
Mm-hmm.
So, it'll be interesting to see how this comes out compared to the others,
Mm-hmm.
how what the results are like. So, not that I'm looking to like set any sort of records and stuff, but it's just like and maybe it's just because today I'm just kind of tired. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, you
Could
want to,
be. So, of
yeah. I mean, and you do want to improve. I mean, what's the point if you're not going
course.
to get better? I mean, if
Right. But the thing too is, like at our age, when, there's gonna like we're not getting like if we just stood still and we're not counting exercise and deliberate growth and development, we're not physically getting better, stronger, younger, faster, right? Now it's possible that like you could be bench pressing and deadlifting more next year than this year. And
mm-hmm.
it's possible that I could be running farther or faster next year.
Mm-hmm.
But all things being equal, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a reflection of our focus and improvement and dedication rather than like we're not just naturally getting stronger, faster, younger, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, I don't know, I haven't done, I'm sure that people have studied this and stuff, but I haven't looked at the curve to analyze, where that performance curve falls, and
Mm-hmm.
where how much can I influence that, how much room do I have to still improve my times,
Mm-hmm.
because there'll be a point where like just holding steady is improvement,
Yeah,
right? Because if you're 30 and you run at a certain time, and then you're 60 and you run at the same time, I'd call that holding steady. That's pretty impressive,
that's pretty impressive. Well,
yeah, so
I I would say though the caveat to that whole thing is, have you established your peak? And
right. Uh,
like for some of the things that I'm doing in CrossFit, um, I'm improving from last year to this year because I've never peaked. I've never gotten
right.
as good as I possibly could get. You never
Mm-hmm.
run the fastest marathon that you're ever going to run, because
Mm-hmm.
that's the most that you could ever do. Because how many marathons have you run? Two or one?
I ran one full, one ultra, and one half.
Yeah.
So
So
I've run like 2.6 marathons or
yeah.
something.
So if you had run 30 of them, you would
Yeah.
know your best.
Right. Exactly. So right now, out of the three, like I said, half marathon, a full marathon, and an ultra marathon, I've done one of each. That's not a huge sample size, right?
Yeah.
So,
And so, yeah, but I mean, if I were a peak athlete, then yeah, at some point I'm going to meet as fast as I can do with my body and what I'm willing to expend. And this is going to be my best. So,
mhm.
I've never been a peak athlete, honestly. I want to do well enough, but I'm kind of late. I'm not 100%er. I'm not somebody who's willing to give 100% to get to the finish line and feel like I am going to die.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I know that feeling. I've always left a tiny little bit in the tank. I mean, I felt after my first marathon, I felt completely trashed, you
Hmm.
know. I didn't feel like I was going to die. I was
Yeah,
still taking the stairs when I got home, and I, threw a barbecue and had a party with friends and stuff, but
yeah. So
I
you
felt like
did
I had given a lot.
you worked hard. You put forward
Yeah.
an effort. You did hard work, but it wasn't 100%. You
Right.
you didn't have to be carried off of the tarmac.
Exactly.
Because
And frankly, I'm not looking to do that.
no.
Yeah, nah, that's not exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
that's what those Navy SEALs guys do. They are insane.
they're insane. That's right. They're
Insane.
sane, and then inside that, there's them, and they're insane. Uh, anyway,
Yeah. Well, so this you're talking about fitness. So the CrossFit Open is now completed the 3-week open trial, and I missed the first 2 weeks, so I couldn't do my performance, but I did do the third workout, and I actually did pretty good on it for me. I could have done better if my double unders were better, but I've been focusing on those to make them better now, because I'm never going to be eliminated by jump rope ever again. I mean,
okay.
yeah. I mean, there's no
This this
reason I
this is a
cannot be in a
vow, that
yeah,
we're
yeah,
we're we're saying, declaring publicly here.
yeah, it's public. I'm never going to be beaten by a jump rope again. I mean, now if we're talking about 1,000 jump ropes, that's fine,
Well,
but we're talking about 50 double unders, I can do that.
can you describe the jump rope that beat you?
Yeah, it was green, 7 foot long with red handles.
Okay, okay, good. I was just curious. I was just curious. We'll put them up. Could you identify this jump rope in a lineup?
I believe I could. I believe I could.
Okay, okay, good. We'll put out an APB right now.
But yeah, so that's over. But it's funny, so I came back from vacation after 2 weeks off, and we were pretty active our whole vacation. I mean, I
Okay.
wasn't doing CrossFit, and I did some yoga some days to just help keep stretching, but I mean, we were on a boat, we scuba dived, we hiked, we swam, we were fishing, constantly moving the whole time while
Hmm.
not exercising per se. And I came back and I worked out 2 days and felt really good. And I worked out this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, felt good. Thursday, I couldn't get up. Like, I've got this. I mean, I just couldn't get up to go work out. I stretched. And then this morning, I drugged myself out of bed. So it kind of caught up to me with being off. So hopefully and then next week's spring break. So I probably won't do anything then, but the following week, hopefully I can get back on schedule.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to accept plateaus, and it's something I'm working on. Like, and that, like, okay, they're okay. They happen. Like, performance is never, it's not just a straight uphill line and a straight downhill line. There are times where you just level off for a little while. And even if sometimes that might be a little bit slanted, just so that's where it feels like I'm at right now. A little slanted.
Yeah. So, well, cool. Well, did you get married while you were gone or anything? Or
No.
any new piercings or tattoos?
No. Although I was cleaning up a bunch of garbage today. Like, I found, okay, so I came home and I had three little postcards notifying me of class action lawsuit settlements. And two of them have been sitting around for some time, as is evidenced by the fact that they had expired. I hadn't had the time to actually, so I was like, all right, this is enough. I've had enough crap lying around. It was in my pile of papers to, do, like, with my taxes, for instance. And I just hadn't gotten around to doing this. So I went downstairs and just, like, I cleared off. I have this shelf. I have a bookshelf. It was one of my roommates. It was my roommate Charlie's, and he left it here sort of as payment for letting him keep his stuff here for an extra month after he moved out. But so I have this bookshelf, and I also have my yoga props that I keep downstairs in the living room. Normally I'll do yoga upstairs in the studio, but sometimes I like to, if I'm taking a class, I like to do it on the TV in the living room downstairs, because I got a 55-inch TV. And so that's nice. So this morning I came upstairs to the studio. I was going to do it on my new ultra high def monitor here, and I had left my laptop downstairs. So I was like, well, I guess I'm taking it downstairs. And I went down there. And as I'm going to put my stuff away, like, my yoga props are just leaning up against it's a mess. They're just scattered across the living room floor. And I looked at the bookshelf and I was like, that bottom shelf has plenty of room for my yoga props. And it already has like a collection of tennis balls for the neighbor dogs and a Frisbee. So I just started moving stuff around. And while I'm doing that, I'm finding all kinds of, like, old newspaper articles that I hadn't read. It's been there literally for 3 years. I was like, that's it, straight to the trash. So there are a bunch of things I had. They're like, oh, this might be handy. Haven't done it in 3 years. Probably not going to bother. Just toss it. So I cleaned that out a little bit. So that helped.
Yeah. I got to get all my fishing gear put away too. We've been back now 2 weeks, and I still have fishing gear sitting in my bathroom.
Yeah. Well, it's not quite the same. Fishing gear for 2 weeks, I put that in a slightly different category than, a newspaper article from 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, it is definitely different.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah. Anyway, so what else is new? So I did just mention my new monitor. I bought a new 4K monitor. Got it just about a week ago. Yeah. So I traded in, may recall it was about almost 3 years ago, two plus years ago. I got an LG Ultra HD, which was basically, it's like two, 24-inch monitors stacked side to side, glued together, but they weren't like ultra high def. So it was just 300, I think like $350 or something. I got one from Monoprice.
Yeah.
And it's ultra high def, and wow, there's a difference.
Yeah.
It's really nuts. Well, I've got it connected to my MacBook, and my MacBook Air has been this, high def screen. But like taking out, like you would dragging a little browser window that's like this big on the Mac and dragging it up to the ultra, to the old monitor, it would expand to like 4 times the size on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that always bugged me about it is I liked it, but the vertical resolution was never that good. I
Mm-hmm.
like it still had the vertical resolution of a standard old desktop monitor.
Yeah.
And especially when I'm playing, like, doing my games online with my friends, I've got these big maps that scroll up and down. It's like I'm scrolling and scrolling and scrolling forever it's like this is no better than the old setup that I used to have.
Yeah.
So I finally bit the bullet. I had it sitting in my cart the entire time, that I was gone on vacation, and I finally bit the bullet and bought it when I got back.
Yeah.
32-inch Ultra HD. The thing's loaded with ports. So it's a mini. It's got two USB-A ports, so it can be like a little USB hub, a little
Mm-hmm.
repeater anyway. It takes DVI, HDMI, USB-C,
Display port.
display port. Yep. So, but I've got it right now. It's pretty nice because I can charge my MacBook from it. I've got
Nice.
everything plugged into it. So I just plug in a USB-C connection into my Mac, and that's it. That's all that's connected. So the audio connection is running through it. So it's got the speakers, piped through there. So it's nice. It's like the next best thing to a docking station, which Apple will never make for a laptop.
What
Um,
what brand did you say it was?
Monoprice,
Oh, it's a
which,
monoprice brand? Okay. I didn't know
you
they
know,
had their own gear.
I didn't either. I thought Monoprice was just like like Wayfair.com or something, because they sell all kinds of stuff on there.
Yeah.
There's been one thing, like occasionally in very dark, when there's a lot of darkness on the screen, occasionally I'll see a little bit of a flicker, but it's 60 hertz. And, that usually doesn't last very long. And I tried at first, I thought it was just the cable that I was using. But it hasn't really been happening a lot. So I'm kind of like, you know what? I don't care. It's just having all this screen real estate. It's really nice. So just being able to comfortably fit everything there. So,
Yeah.
but as a little bit of follow up though, I have not yet reconfigured my Rectangle Pro, the thing that we use to set up all the zones.
Uh-huh.
So I still have all the default layouts and stuff. So if I drag a window over to the right hand side of the screen, it expands to take up half of it. And I was like, that thing's huge. So
Yeah. I've still got I don't realize how much better it is until I've got my 2019 MacBook Pro, and if I'm just using the laptop, like the screen is so much sharper.
mhm.
I've got 27-inch HDMI. I don't remember which HDMI, but yeah, I can't believe how much difference it is just between my laptop screen. So a new MacBook or your new Air with 4K, it's got to look really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and of course, as we're talking about it now, I'm seeing some of that flicker. It's kind of funny. So, like, I have you on my Zoom front and center, right in the top center. And if I switched off of Zoom to a browser window, like where we have our show notes, which is primarily white,
Mm-hmm.
I see the Zoom window with you starts to flicker. But then if I click to a terminal window right next to it, which is dark, that flickering goes away.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not exactly sure how to account for that. It feels really more like a software thing than a hardware thing.
Hmm.
So anyway, but
Yeah.
Again, overall, I like it for the price. It's not bad. So
Yeah.
I'm
Cool.
pretty
Yeah.
happy with it.
I use Monoprice. I've my 3D printers from them. I buy cables from them, network gear or network racks and things like that.
Hmm.
So they're pretty good.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What else going on?
Let's see. That's that's really the fun stuff. As far as everything else is just regular. My wife's parents are getting old, dealing with that, but nobody wants to hear about that. No, nor yeah.
So are my parents. So,
Yeah.
well, some follow up. I can't remember if we've touched on this already on Blurring the Lines. I know we touched on it on Friends with Brews, though. I have officially switched myself over to 1Password from LastPass.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even the last announcement that came out about them, but like the last couple of announcements, were finally the last straw. And it's just, not only does the company have a better track record, it's just the software just seems a little easier to use all around. On the iPhone, it's just the same. It has all the same functionality that LastPass would have. But on the desktop, it's just a little easier to use. And
Then
they've then LastPass.
LastPass?
They've
Okay.
polished it a little better. And I really enjoy that. So it costs a little more, but it's worth the few extra bucks. We're talking
Hmm.
a few bucks, couple bucks a month, maybe. I don't remember the price difference. And they prorated my subscription, refunded me part of my LastPass balance. So they're like, oh, you're coming over from LastPass? Well, I think they gave me like $17 or something like that. I was like,
That's pretty
hey,
cool.
I'll take it, for the price of sending an email. Sure.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and yeah, so I've moved from Keeper, and the reason that I went to Keeper is I wanted an MSP version.
mhm.
I wanted a password manager that I could offer for my clients because
Yep.
I had LastPass for my clients. And I like Keeper, and Keeper is good. It's fast. It has all the functionality of LastPass.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know that I like the GUI as well. It is not easier than LastPass, and I think it's just familiarity because I've gotten used. I mean, I've used it for years. I've gotten used to how I would fill forms and where I would click, and I have to click it in different places. And I'm hoping that I'll get to where I'm as functional or as fast with it and automatic as I was with LastPass. But it has all the functionality. So I mean, I don't have any complaints about it working. It does work. But
Mhm.
just not, I don't know, it's not as smooth where you said that's even better with 1Password.
Yeah, it's simpler. I also was looking for an MSP, friendly version. That's one of the reasons I was looking at Bitwarden.
Mm-hmm.
But MSP is not really my focus these
Mm-hmm.
days. And so I just erred on the side of, like easy to use with a good good security track record. And right now that's where that these guys fall. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah,
yeah.
me too.
So that was 1Password versus Keeper. Got about my
Mm-hmm.
new monitor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I have two outstanding, annoying AF support issues going on. And by that, I mean annoying as foretold.
Yeah.
Um, one of them remains my issues with Apple and my iPhone and the Bluetooth connection and, the AirPods, but it's now not just the iPhone and it's not just the AirPods because it's happened in my Tesla as well. Um, that one exactly. And you notice it never happens while we're podcasting because these AirPods are paired to my Mac, not to the phone. But I guarantee if we were on the phone, it would be happening. And I had the pleasure of being mansplained to a couple days ago
By
um,
Apple?
by a lady from Apple. Yes. So it's been a while since I've been mansplained to. Usually it happens from tatted up get dudes in mountain bike shops telling me, like how I don't know how to ride because I did this and that and the other. And I'm like, I usually just, yeah, sure, fine. This time I was told that, this individual worked in telecom for 20 years and therefore was explaining that, oh, it's the cell signal could cause all kinds of problems. I'm like, yeah, I get that, but I'm standing in my living room and I'm on Wi-Fi and it still happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it never happens when I'm not using the Bluetooth. It doesn't happen on speaker. And it turned into a very interesting psychology lesson because this person was so dug in to their position that even when I'm like, look, I understand you're saying if the problem was over here on the left in cell land, everything you're saying makes sense. But I'm giving you hard evidence that the problem lies over here on the right, not in cell land, not in Wi-Fi land, but in Bluetooth land. And they just wouldn't quit.
Yeah.
And I was just like, all right, well, that wasn't why I was there. I had taken my MacBook in to have the V as in Victor key replaced because it was sticking. The V key, it like wouldn't always. It's been going on for a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
So, I hit the V key and nothing happens half the time. So they told me, they said anything else? I said, well, sometimes the space bar can be a little sticky. And they're like, oh, space bar. Oh, if it's a space bar, we're going to have to send it in. We're going to have to send it in for repair. And it's going to be 3 to 5 days. And I was like, can we just do the V key for now? They're like, oh yeah, we can do that. So the V key, they can pull it out back, pop the keycap off, switch it. Everything was fine. Spacebar they wouldn't do. I was like, I'll live with that for right now. I
Mm-hmm.
get home, the F key is acting up. Now the F key does the exact same thing. It's like you have to give it a super solid press, which I wouldn't object to normally, but it's the only key that does that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So if I knew I was using like an old Northgate style keyboard that you have to
Tack, 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 tack,
attack,
tack, tack, tack,
yeah,
tack, tack.
yes, a real ballistic keyboard and stuff. If I knew that was what I was working with, that'd be different. But when it's only just one key, it's hard to adjust, your keystrokes. Oh, when it's an F, I got to really dig into this one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going back again today, right as soon as we're done recording in an hour from now to have them fix the F key.
Nice.
But I will not bring up the issue with the iPhone and the dropped calls or the garbled calls. But
You
I
know,
probably will bring up another issue though. But anyway.
it's funny. I was having some weird issues. I use Ring Central
Mhm.
and I use my phone, but I've got Ring Central set up and I've got my phone set up that if I'm here, that it's supposed to use Wi-Fi over cellular. And I thought that I was having some problems with my cellular. How sometimes it'll negotiate between wireless and cellular. And sometimes I think that it gets wonky. If cellular is still on, Wi-Fi, they can fight. So I will turn cellular off. So I'm here. So I just, turn the cellular off. I'm on Wi-Fi. I just remembered my phone was doing some of what your headphones were doing, and I was on Bluetooth because that's the only way I talk on my phone is on Bluetooth.
Yep.
But I wasn't having problems on the iPhone when
Interesting, huh?
yeah, it's interesting
Boy.
because I had cellular off and I thought maybe, like I said, I thought maybe it was, I thought it was the bad signal here, but no.
Yep.
And it was happening on my Ring Central app and on cellular. I mean, on the phone app on the phone.
Right. Phone. Yep.
So I was like,
So
there's a
keeping on
conspiracy.
the slightly adjacent to it, but not just ragging on Apple, Ecobee I tried sometime last year or so to get my Ecobee connected to HomeKit so I could connect to it with Siri and stuff. Didn't work, and I didn't care, right? I didn't really have any investment in HomeKit. Since then, I have gone all HomeKit. I'm all in. I did come back from Costa Rica and had every room in the house reset with Lutron Caseta light switches. And so now I've got, HomeKit enabled smart light switches everywhere. I still have some Philips Hue bulbs as well. But essentially I can control all, like everything is smart. And the nice thing is, like, if you turn off the light switch, I can turn it back on via voice or via the app.
Nice.
When you do that with a Philips Hue light bulb, you can't do that, right? So I've got I've got a smart lock. I've got my Sonos gear. That was really handy too. Today, like I said, hey, Siri, turn it up in kitchen, and it did, and the kitchen got louder. So that was a home improvement task that largely was done while I was gone. I had my electrician come in, put in all that, and also install in-ceiling speakers on my first floor. And the speakers didn't sound as good as I was really hoping. So I ended up also buying a Sonos sub. So I have a subwoofer now.
Hoofer.
Honestly, I should have probably just gotten the sub and forgotten about the in-ceiling speakers. It makes such a better difference. It's not funny. So, but yeah, I've gone even deeper with Sonos. But Ecobee had me doing all these backflips trying to troubleshoot why their thing won't connect to HomeKit. And now their latest thing is they keep on emailing me saying, "We're waiting for your reply," but they're not. I'm
Yeah.
waiting for their reply, but I keep getting their autoresponders saying, "We're waiting for your reply." I was like, "No, you're not, you SOBs." So along with that, and Apple was doing the same thing. I emailed them back because I was up to like, senior level analyst who's troubleshooting the Bluetooth problem, and they've stopped replying to the emails. And so it's like, great, I get to call again and start over again on all of these. And I was like, "Ugh." But I did get new video cameras as well at home. So everything I have right now, except my thermostat, is all HomeKit enabled, and it's really slick. It's really nice.
I'm getting ready to do my update my security cameras too. So who did you end up going with?
I went with Eufys.
Eufy.
And yep,
Not a roofie.
EUFY, not a roofie, Eufy. That's the brand of Anchor that got hacked and admitted like, oh crap, we weren't encrypting the stuff that we thought we were encrypting. But unlike LastPass, they're like, yep, we screwed up. We're sorry. We're fixing it. And I appreciate that response. Now, I did get the Eufy Cam 2. It's an older model, still current. And the reason I got it, like they make some that have that boast a 1 year battery life. These boast 180-day battery life. But apparently it's 180 days of sitting around not doing much of anything, because I had mine set to stream always and record whenever I'm gone on motion. And it was chewing down the battery by about 10% per week.
Wow.
If you do the math, that's not going to last 180 days.
No.
So I went on Amazon and I'm going to get a couple of miniature solar panels and turn them into infinite battery life.
There you go.
Yeah. So they're cute little mini solar panels. They're cute.
Do they plug? I mean, can you do PoE on them?
It's got USB-C, so you could power the cameras, but the whole point I wanted to is like I didn't have to. I want to just be able to mount them up on the wall and be done with it. Now, oddly enough, I had my electrician install them, and he installed them where I had previously had powered, cameras, but that's not what I wanted. So as it happens, I have to have him come back. We're going to have him install some security lights. So when he's here, I'm going to have him just mount the solar panels for me again, just because I don't have the tools to drill into brick that he does. I was like, Dave, while you're here, can you mount this up there for me, please? Thank you.
So. Yeah. I want to so I've got powered cameras now. They're wireless but they're powered with electricity. I think the ones that I'm going to end up using will probably need PoE. They'll need power no matter what, because I'm not doing batteries.
Right.
They're outdoor cameras, and not doing that.
Yep.
I mean, I would only do that like if I had to, like down at my farm for a short period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Anyway, but as far as like my Sonos gear goes, I'm enjoying it. It's a lot less buggy than it used to be. Most of the bugs that I was having with it really were caused by AirPlay and, more of an Apple thing and an iOS thing. So, living within the Sonos ecosystem, it's really nice. But of course, a couple years ago, I was like, that's it. I'm not buying any more Sonos gear. I'm done. I'm divesting myself. All in on Sonos. Here we go. Let's buy more.
Let's buy more.
Oh, brother.
So interesting thing, when we were talking about travel, I forgot about this, but the beer in Seychelles, their beer is Say Brew. I mean, like SEY brew. And it's kind of like the beer you described in Costa Rica. Very low alcohol by volume. You more or less drank a beer, and you might as well have had kombucha or kombucha. I mean, the amount of alcohol you're in, like, oh, well, That was wet.
I had a I had one of the brands of beers that I really like is Schufferhofer, and
Hmm.
I think I've had it with Scott before. I think I've had it on Friends with Beer, but I'm not sure. If not, I'm gonna have to put it on Friends with Brews on the agenda. But it's a German wheat beer, but it's a Radler style, so it's half wheat beer, half grapefruit juice.
Huh, okay. Yeah.
If effectively 2.5% alcohol. So you can pound those suckers and oh my goodness, they are delicious. Um,
Yeah, you'll
but
outpace the alcohol.
yeah, oh, absolutely. Honestly, I could probably save money and do just as good by buying a halfway decent wheat beer and mixing in my own grapefruit juice.
There you go.
But because that's what they do in Germany, that's a thing. Apparently, it was I don't remember where they developed it. One of the anecdotal stories was like it was developed for cyclists when they're
Hmm.
on long endurance rides. But the Germans they like drinking their beer, but they don't want to get plastered while you're biking. So
Yeah.
yeah, just water it down with fruit juice or something.
Hmm.
So
Well,
anyway,
so the beer was really light, but they had lots of rum in Seychelles,
okay,
lots of rum and lots of different types of. They were really focused on the spice rums,
okay,
and they had many different types of spice. I typically don't like a coconut rum. Um, One, it tastes like coconut, and then the alcohol volume is so low that it's just like, oh, it's like drinking a milkshake over and over again. It's so sweet. You're like, I like a milkshake, but I wouldn't want to drink one after another all night long. But
that's a
but one,
lot.
yeah, but one of the spiced rums was it was interesting. To me, the most prominent spice in it was nutmeg. So it kind of tasted like you were drinking an eggnog.
Okay. Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, but yeah, do you want to be pounding a milkshake or do you want to be pounding an eggnog? What's the difference, really?
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, and you mixed it with something else, and it didn't have the sweetness because it's not a sweet rum. It's a spiced rum. So if you were
Hmm.
doing like a rum and coke, it tastes like rum and coke with eggnog, and some different kind of spices, and it was different. I mean, I, I wouldn't choose it all the time, but
Right.
it was interesting. Just like to try different things.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's nice. Just try something a little bit different and, just to sort of say, okay, I've tried something a little different. So,
Yeah.
but now I'm good.
Yeah,
So,
now I'm good. Yeah.
oh, man.
Oh, and well, one thing about so we had I wish I'd known this, and you may have known this when you were staying in Costa Rica. What we should have done is we should have arranged a cook to cook our dinners every night, because it was cheaper and they prepared such a good meal. It was, all the meals that we ate there that were prepared by somebody, not like going to a restaurant, but were prepared there were fish, there were vegetables, there were, a salad of sorts and a dessert. And none of it was large portions. And I mean, you got up from dinner, you were satisfied, but you weren't stuffed. And I
Okay.
actually lost weight by the the food that was prepared for us, because there are really cool vegetable sides that we ate that are like, this isn't just green beans poured out of a can. These are really good. you know?
I didn't lose any weight, but I definitely feel like I've gotten a little flabby since
Mm,
my vacation.
mm-hmm,
And the variables were, being in Costa Rica on vacation for a month, which it's been a month now. So I thought that would have been enough time to recover. There's that. There's less running because of my injury.
mm-hmm,
But the other part is I'm not doing push-ups and pull-ups anymore, where I was doing
mm-hmm,
those fairly religiously.
mm-hmm.
And I can't help but think there might be a correlation. So we're going to see. I think in a week or two, I'm going to be switching my physical therapy focus from my knee to my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
For the last like half week or so, I've been wearing kinesiology tape on the affected area, and it seems night and day different.
Mm-hmm.
A week ago, I was just like, F this. I want to get surgery. I just want this fixed. I want it done. I'm sick of this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sick of being in pain every day. So I don't know if maybe it's just tendonitis. Yeah, I really don't know, but
Yeah.
I am sick of it hurting all the time.
Yeah.
But if the solution is decent strength bearing exercises, and that also makes me a little more tone and stuff, then I could live with that. So we shall see. That's why I
Yeah.
haven't killed our ground game channel. I'm
Yeah.
still there in spirit, and I'm expecting some kind of a comeback.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, honestly,
it never went away.
since I lost my it never went away. Since I lost my accountability partner on it, I haven't been doing it hardly at all, if at
Oh, so
all.
it's my fault. I get
Yeah.
it.
No,
I get
no, my accountability partner in Signal.
it. Right, not me, not
Not
me.
you, not
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But
Ah.
what I was the guy who cooked for us, he was actually the groundkeeper at the house where we were staying. And she
Okay.
told us, she said, well, if you ever and his name was Peter. Said if you ever want Peter to cook for you, he loves to cook. And we took him up on, we caught a bunch of fish and we took him up on preparing fish. And he's like, yeah, I'll cook for you. He said, give me money for groceries, and I'll charge you $20 a head. So there's 6 of us, and it was $120 plus groceries. We should have had him cook for us every single night, because I mean, you can't go out to a restaurant for $120 for 2 people in a tourist town.
I was gonna say, so what was the Seychelles like as far as prices go?
Well, some things were more expensive, and then
Hmm.
something, because you're on an island, it's very difficult to get to. And then some things were just regular pricing, but you're going to get it from a country that you may not be able to read what the words are. There, because there's Middle Eastern suppliers over there, stuff from India, um, and stuff from China too. So there
Hmm.
was a lot of different languages as far as the things coming over there. But then if you wanted a bottle of Jack Daniels, you were going to pay $60 for a fifth of Jack Daniels. I mean, I
Ugh.
did, I
But
don't
why
know.
would you buy that when you could get, like Seychellian rum?
Yeah, and so then of course the Seychelles rum was, like domestic prices for us to buy domestic alcohol. So you
Right.
bought the domestic. So something, your grocery store stuff was a little bit more expensive, coffee was a little bit more expensive, but not like you couldn't afford to live there.
Hmm. Yeah, it
So,
was interesting because Costa Rica, pricing was, I thought, quite reasonable. There was no
mhm,
places I felt like, oh my goodness, this is so expensive.
mhm,
It really wasn't, compared to like even in the tourist towns, it was comparable to Boston,
mhm.
which just underscores that I live in a really expensive place. I gotta reconsider that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, and one of the things that people said to me, "Oh, you're going to Seychelles." I don't have that kind of money. Um,
Right.
it really wasn't that expensive. I mean, the airfare was higher because we
Mm-hmm.
were flying for 24 hours. I mean, so we
Mm-hmm.
were paying for more flight time, but it really wasn't significantly different than going to Hawaii in
Okay.
cost.
Okay.
And there are expensive, I mean, it's its own country. It's like
Right.
other countries. There are places where the ultra rich go, and then there are people, middle class people, go to vacation these places. So the
Mm-hmm.
place we went was the middle class people, the Europeans who come there for a month. I mean, it was all nice. It wasn't nowhere near well, I didn't see any ghetto areas there at all, though.
Mm-hmm.
But we were in nice neighborhoods,
Mm-hmm.
law abiding, the police were there. I mean, so
You
it
felt
was just,
safe.
yeah, felt safe.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
was like, yeah, it's not really an expensive place to go. I mean, like everywhere's got, all right, well, go to Palm Springs, if you want to spend stupid money on, go to Rodeo Drive. If you want to buy a t-shirt that's $135, shame on you. Yeah.
Good for you,
But yeah,
Oh boy.
cost wasn't too bad. So yeah.
Cool.
So
All right.
so I dove with my Apple Watch, my Ultra.
Yeah, how was that?
So that was really cool. So you go down and it detects you're underwater. And you had mentioned you saw it do some things while you were in the pool. So
Yeah.
it showed my depth, and then it also started counting my my downtime. As soon as I went down, it immediately detected I was underwater. It just did it. I didn't have to
Yep.
like press a button for workout. It
Yep.
just kicked in,
Yep.
and it was appropriate brightness. I could read it the whole time. I actually couldn't turn it off. Like once it was on, there was no buttons I could push to make it go away. Not that I
Okay.
wanted it to, but
Right.
there was nothing I could do to make it go away.
So if you were
Uh,
being chased by some kind of light sensing giant fish or something, you're toast.
your hose, you
Or
just
your
go like
ceviche or
cover
something.
cover it up and go. So it was really cool. There was it like I said, it counted my downtime, so I knew how long I'd been down there. I knew my depths, and I was really looking forward to my report when I got up. I was wanting to see if it said like my time frame of when I was at what depth, and I was, how I was down, up. I was imagining this.
Mm-hmm.
I got in the boat and I looked down, and it's saying resubmerge in the water to mark the dive is complete. I'm in a boat now that's
Huh?
moving. So I can't resubmerge the watch to mark it as being over. So I lost the whole workout. I mean, and not the
Dude.
workout, I lost the whole dive. So I was like, that was really I mean, if I knew that I was gonna have to resubmerge it when I got out, I would have planned for that. But why would it lose all the data? It
Yeah,
just didn't record the data.
that's bizarre.
Yeah, I
Just
was
didn't
very
record, just kind
disappointed.
of. I mean, and it's like your first and only dive, and that's the one you want to
Yeah.
remember, man. Oh boy.
Yeah. So it's like, oh well, now I know, but I mean, well, I guess I could have done some research on it ahead of time. So
Hmm.
I guess that's shame on me.
Resubmerged though. Why would you need to yeah, I was just in the water. Why do I need to go
Why
back into the water?
why
That
can't I
doesn't.
just hit dive over? Yes.
Yeah, that's really weird. Not helpful. Not helpful.
Yeah.
I don't know, Apple. Sorry. No good. No biscuit for you there.
But now I mentioned to you, I've got to get another watch band. Uh,
Okay.
this one smells because
Ah,
I wear it to work out.
now which one do you have?
So I have the Apple OEM Alpine Green.
Alpine. Yeah, and I am convinced that the Alpine is the worst of the three.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I mean, the ocean one, it's made of rubber, right? So that's not going to stink, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have been good. And even I was just, when I was at the Apple store, because nothing else to do, I was trying on different bands while I was there.
Mm-hmm.
But functionally speaking, the trail loop, I'm sure it would smell like sea water as well if you
Mm-hmm.
immerse it and stuff. But the trail loop is the only one that's easy to take off and put on
Mm-hmm.
compared to the other two. They are so, it's like putting a puzzle to take these off and put them on again. And the thing I don't like with my Alpine one, I have to buy a little tub of OxyClean just to see, or maybe I would try a magic eraser, because I got the Starlight, which is kind of like white.
Mm-hmm.
That thing shows dirt like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, it's kind of disappointing. I didn't pay for it, but $100 of that $800 watch was for that freaking band.
Yeah.
You want the thing to look good.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
and the thing is, like, I don't use that one for workouts. That was supposed to be my dressy watch band.
mm-hmm.
Well, not anymore. It's not.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, it's difficult to. So you really can't see it on there, but I
Mhm.
took a Sharpie and wrote a line over the loop that's underneath of it, so I would know which loop to connect it to every time. Because
Yep.
I was like, oh, which one. But yeah, I'm gonna get a non OEM version because like you said, the watch or the band is $100. My
Yeah. And even, like, look, I understand, prices go up and stuff, but that's ridiculous.
it's a
$100 for just a band. These are
it's
not, sorry, Apple, these are
yeah,
not Rolexes.
yeah, it's nylon. I mean, yeah, it's stupidly priced.
Yeah. There you go.
Um, mhm. But let's see here. CISO work for fun and profit.
Yeah, doing more vCISO engagements, and I'm liking it. It's fun, doing like some pure consulting and security advising work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I like that kind of work, and I'm enjoying doing that and want to do more.
Cool. Enjoying the CISO.
Living the CISO loco or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was funny. I sent you some talking about the Apple Watch. It does the workouts, and we share workouts, and I'll hit things back and forth to you. But so I've been doing my Duolingo app because planning on going to Mexico this summer, so I'm refreshing my Spanish vocabulary. Just
See,
so it's a good idea. And so I turned on the Spanish keyboard on my phone, and it decided now randomly that my quick responses are supposed to be in Spanish. So I responded to you a couple of times in Spanish, and
I've noticed that. That was pretty funny. I was like, oh, super easy. Okay, yeah. I didn't have time to reply. Barely an inconvenience, but
barely an inconvenience. Yeah.
on a similar note, I added my dad to my Amazon Prime household
Yeah.
so that we could, so he could share my free shipping and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon took that as meaning we're in the same house. So now anytime I call him with the lady in the tube, it rings in my own house.
Brilliant.
I don't know how that connection was made exactly because I don't remember ever saying like, "Oh, we're going to sync all of your electronic devices and things." I mean, like, and even if we did live in the same house, don't you think maybe we would want to keep some separation? Maybe he has his devices and I have mine and we don't want to get each other's calls?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently not.
Apparently.
Apparently not.
So
So,
an interesting Amazon business um snafu, I guess.
mhm,
Uh, so my office manager and I have a business account in Amazon, and then I've
mhm,
added my office manager to that. I have added shared methods of payment in there. I have two
okay,
credit cards. I have one of them set as the default, and then I have one as a backup.
okay.
At some point, I had my debit card in the account, and it's never been set as the default. Well, while I was on vacation, she bought some things, and I'm seeing them show up in my debit or from my checking account. And I said, "Hey,"
Mhm,
I said, "check your defaults when you check out, because your default has changed somehow. I don't know how it changed,
mhm.
but you're dropping it out into the debit card." And she's like, "No, I'm not." I'm like, uh, "Just double check, you know, just double check when you check out, make sure it doesn't have the debit card in there." I don't even know
Mhm.
how she has the debit card, because
Right.
that wasn't one that I shared. Yeah. So she
It's
continues to
concerning.
purchase things on my debit card. And I'm like, "I don't have time to deal with this. I'm reporting it as stolen. I'm out of town." So I
Mhm.
just reported as stolen, tell, regions, give me a new credit card or give me a new debit card. The account's been compromised. And
Did
they
you
did,
just end up swatting your business manager as a result?
No, because she has the other two cards associated with our account. But, it forced her to use those other cards.
Mhm.
So I got into it and I was like, okay, well, somehow there's a default. There is no default. That debit card is not in my account. It's not in my account. It's not in my personal account, meaning you can add cards that are available to only you, but you don't share with the company. It's not
Mhm.
in my personal either.
That's
But
concerning.
if I go to checkout, that's the default number it puts in there, and it's not even associated with my account anymore in any
That's
way.
very concerning.
Yeah, but at least, I mean, that debit card has been canceled, but I can't get that out. It's because it's not there.
Extremely concerning.
Yeah. Well, because
How did it get there in the first place? We don't know.
well, I'm pretty sure I put it in the account so that as a
Mhm.
method of payment, because I have another debit card for my farm,
Right.
because I purchase things from my farm from Amazon in the business section, but I pay for it with that debit card, and that card was not shared with her, so she couldn't see it, and I couldn't see it as my employee account. uh, what's going to happen when that just shows up in somebody's purchase order?
Ah, great.
So pay attention to all your purchases with Amazon, that it's going out of the right account. And
On that helpful little PSA, I think we should wrap it up because I do have my appointment at the Genius Bar to get my F key replaced.
Yeah, did you see my chat and signal? I said with Scott. He said Genius Bar.
Ugh, don't get me started. All right. On that note, why don't you take us out?
All right. Dear listener, thank you for listening to our rambles today. And if you would like for us to discuss a particular ramble or topic, then you can drop us a line at www.blurringthelinespodcast.com. We don't need any Cialis. I'm all topped out. I think Peter's got all he needs as well.
Jesus.
So so you don't have to drop those there, and I don't think we're going to need a life coach anytime soon. We're successfully dysfunctional. So if you want to reach out to Peter, you can reach him at paradigmcc.com, yogawithpeter.com, friendswithbrews.com, and you can hunt him. You could hunt the Mastodon at Nikolaidis at infosec.exchange. Otherwise, you can find me at sublimecomp.com, rrlavenderfarm.com, and at sublimecomp on the Elon Musk twit.
And on that note, I am pushing that big red button.